It's counting down. Okay. It says we are on air. Oh my goodness. Hello, everybody tuning in. I hope you can hear and see us. Please leave a comment if the audio is okay. So
yes, I am monitoring the chat. So if you have questions or anything about tech issues, just type it into the chat window.
Chat away. All right, everyone. So we're just waiting a few seconds for any lag time, but it looks like we are live. Just let us know if everything's okay with the connection. Welcome to our Frontline Arts annual meeting. Thank you so much, everyone, for those attending online. This is our first attempt at a video live stream to make this meeting fully accessible for everyone at home, in your living room, wherever you are.
From our living room.
This is the gallery. It looks like a living room. So anyway, I am Rachel Heverling, the Executive Director here at Frontline Arts, and
I am Dave Keefe. I am the President of the Board of Trustees here at Frontline Arts.
All right. And in attendance is...
So it looks like we have a good number of people online, watching in, listening in, chatting in, and we're so excited for the turnout. So thank you for being here.
All right, thanks everybody. So we're going to be toggling back and forth between this video of our faces here and a slideshow. But let me first tell you about the purpose of tonight's meeting. So our annual meeting is to review the Frontline Arts annual report of 2019, which went out at the end of December in email and on our website. We are also going over the organizational operations in our current fiscal year 2020, which ends in the end of June. And we are also going to briefly touch on the direction of fiscal year 2021, which starts July 1st.
And so throughout this entire live stream, obviously you can chat, ask questions. We encourage any type of feedback, anything from member services to programmatic successes and challenges to date, and also what we should be focusing on in the near term and in the long term.
Correct. And anyone can provide feedback at any time throughout this meeting. If you haven't figured it out already, it is in the upper right corner of the live video feed. If you are watching this afterwards, if you are not able to tune in live, the same link will work and you will be able to see the comments in real time. But you will still be able to give us feedback even if you're not here live right now. So additional feedback will be sought through at upcoming meetings in the future. Also, anonymous surveys within the next few days. We are going to be sending out a survey so that everybody can respond to their thoughts about Frontline Arts, and additional email and written correspondence.
And we will be compiling all of that information, and the constituents involved in this entire feedback process will be the Board of Trustees, the staff, the interns, our amazing volunteer corps, the member artists, non-member artists, patrons, donors, and the general public. So it's a community effort.
That's right. Okay, so what we're going to do right now is get into a slideshow. So excuse me while I make Dave and I into tiny little talking heads here. Whoop. Okay. All right. So here is our slide image. There we go. And here's, whoops. Look at me. All right, there we go. Hopefully this works for everybody. Okay, so I'm gonna toggle back to our slideshow window here. And we're gonna start with our mission.
Okay, so welcome to our slideshow. Frontline Arts, we're going to start off with our mission because this oversees everything we do, all decisions we make, everything, all programs, operations run through our mission. And our mission is we connect and build communities through socially engaging arts practices rooted in papermaking and printmaking.
Come on, computer. There we go. Okay, so our 2019 annual report, which as said was also emailed out and on our website. So in fiscal year 2019, which is July 1st, 2018 through June 30th, 2019, we served a total of 6,016 individuals, 4,813 adults, including veterans and the public, 1,200 youth under the age of 18. So we served over 1,900 people through paid services and programs, and over 4,000 people through free participation in Veterans Papermaking Program Frontline Paper and through exhibitions and community events. And you can see details from our history and our founding, that we were incorporated in 1974, and that we work on the front lines of art making to serve thousands of artists, veterans, youth, and various communities and the general public each year.
So some of the highlights from this year as in 2019, so fiscal year 2019, we're focused on connecting veterans and non-veterans, as we have almost half of our board and 1/3 of our staff comprised of veterans. We have restructured our veteran-led mobile workshops to serve young audiences, putting our youth programs more in line with our mission. We created a more accessible studio with an automatic push-pad front door, thanks to a grant from the New Jersey Cultural Trust. Frontline Paper had new programs at Bellarmine University, Kentucky, Stockton University, New Jersey, and also Touchstone Center for Craft is in development out in Pittsburgh, which is coming in August of 2020, and those are to highlight a few. And our total earned program revenue grew by 49%, so we're very excited about that.
Heck yeah, that's awesome. Okay. So now we have some pie charts of our revenue and expenses. You can see at the top our net assets at the end of our fiscal year 2019 are just over $73,000. Our contributed income, you can see the majority of that is in kind. That is in large part due to the $28,000 value of our building, the Reeve Center, which is in kind from the Somerset County Park Commission. Just underneath of that are corporate and foundation funders at $26,000 and $25,000, and just under that is individual contributions, just under $20,000. You will see that special events is way down. It is normally closer to $20,000. That is because in the last fiscal year we postponed our annual benefit fundraiser from May to October, and it was very successful, but it just ended up getting pushed into the next fiscal year, and we will continue having that fundraiser in the fall in October going forward. And then at the bottom we have government at about just over $13,000.
And for our earned revenue, Frontline Paper came in at a nice $61,706, which is pretty stable for Frontline Paper, operating in that earned revenue spot for quite some time. Our youth programs around $7,173. Our adult education classes, $17,449. Studio services sits right at $20,468. Our membership, $13,698. Exhibition sales, $3,294, and other revenue is coming in at $10,912.
Okay. Oops. All right, and then we have our expenses. And just so that everyone knows, our annual report is also linked on our website, as mentioned, and our financials are in GuideStar for anyone to look up under Frontline Arts, and also at the bottom of our What We Do page. So the majority of our expenses are programs and services at $180,000, and I do see a comment. I apologize. Some of the smaller type is hard to read. It is due to the quality, the resolution of the stream. So I'm sorry about that. We are reading it out loud. So programs and services, that is all of our supplies for our art education and our Frontline Paper programs in-house and mobile. So that is supplies and instructors. Just under that is, significantly less than that is administration. So we have, utilities, our bills, our insurance, our administrative salaries, and then the least expense is fundraising, and that's mostly the cost of mailers and also the special event rental from our annual benefit.
Some of the comments that we've received from last year as testimonials. My own experience with Frontline Paper has been like coming home artistically, a place where I can be of service and have purpose. That's coming from Ron Erickson, a Frontline Paper Open Workshop participant from 2019. Another one, I love them, sheets of handmade military paper. This is next level stuff, and I'm so glad to be able to do this, coming from Paul Messett from WorkSource, Oregon. And everything was successful. I was totally impressed. This is my first workshop at Frontline, and as a Frontline Arts Adult Education Workshop student. Just to highlight our board, sitting nicely at 7 board members, our president, myself, secretary Tara Kraus, treasurer Gina Seaman, and then trustees Donna Basson, Mike Callahan, Craig Casucci, and Donna Moran.
And next, I'm not going to run through every single name, but we do have the list of all of our major funders and donors. So these come from both foundation and corporate contributions. They are large enough to make out on the slide. And also on the right, we have listed our Sustainer of the Arts members through the end of 2019, as well as several of our major donors. We are going to have a full list of all the donors sent out in the email after this live stream. And obviously, we want to send a special thank you to everyone who contributes and supports our programming, as always. So thank you. You keep us going.
Yes, thank you.
And also big thank you to our volunteers. This is our list of all volunteers from fiscal year 19 to 20. We also could not do it without you at all of our events and in-house programs. A lot of these folks are here every single week. And we also have extra hours by other staff members that are here every chance they get and volunteer also at a lot of our festivals and fairs that we do every summer. So thank you for putting in all the extra effort. And then we have a list of our interns from fiscal year 19 and 20. And we couldn't do it without you all either. So thank you so much. And here's a cute little shot of our, our little staff and intern thank you pizza party. The next slide is our adult ed and youth instructors. So this is from a lot of our adult ed programming that happens here in our studio every single season. We have instructors from all over the world, including Ron Picasso here from New Mexico, and then a lot of our regular in-house instructors. And then we have our Frontline Paper instructors, several of them regularly here and in-house, and then they also travel from afar to do our workshops in Kentucky, USO, etc. So then lastly, thank you to all of our staff. These are our regular staff members. This does go back through fiscal year 19. Our current staff members are Jen Codignola, Ron Erickson, Lindsay Knipe, Rachel, myself, obviously, Walt Nygaard, and Mike Stark. And here's a cute little photo of Mike and Lindsay at our Giving Tuesday halfway point. So we thought that would be a cute way to end the staff wrap. Aw, yes, that's you, Mike. There you are. So I'm going to get back out of this slideshow. We'll get back out of slightly blurry land here. Back to our faces. And we're going to get to the rest of this meeting, and we will be getting into questions soon. So hold those thoughts. All right. We are back on the big screen.
So that was going over some of the details from fiscal year 2019, and to look at what we are doing now and what we're looking to do in the near future. So some of our current organizational operations in fiscal year 2020, and including the direction for next next fiscal year is really in line with our strategic plan that we put together 2 years ago. It was a 3-year strategic plan from fiscal 19 to fiscal 2021. And there's really 4 areas to highlight out of that strategic plan. And it was coming right out of the year that we merged with the Printmaking Center of New Jersey. And we are staying really true to those 4 areas, those 4 goals that we highlighted 2 years ago. So to highlight those goals, number 1 is really to streamline and strengthen our mobile papermaking programs. It really brings great resourcefulness, capacity focus, and growth to our core programming. It's what Frontline Arts was built around on the Frontline Paper model, the former Combat Paper NJ model, of bringing the art out into the world, into the people, and providing the mobile papermaking programs. So we are going really strong and very stable with Frontline Paper, the veteran papermaking program, and also our connective projects. One that we're focused on right now is Migration Project, connecting veteran and immigrant communities through papermaking from military uniforms, clothes, and cultural objects, and being in partnership with a lot of the immigrant communities, gatekeepers, and cultural anchors working out of South Bronx, Harlem, and in the region here in New Jersey as well. So those 2 projects, those 2 programs are really really solid, and we're spending a lot of time providing that those impactful workshops. Number 2 is to increase visibility of Frontline Arts brand, programs, and services. And this is probably our biggest focus, our major focus coming out of the strategic plan. It's because coming out of the merger in 2017, it was really, Frontline Arts was operating on really 2 areas, 2 legs, basically, put it that way. And one is mobile programming, and the other was, or still is, in studio. So what we provide on the road and what we provide in-house. So we are working to figure out how those best can fit together and what that means and how do we brand that going forward. Like I said, this is something that we're really focusing on from a staff and a board perspective, how we can streamline that brand and deliver that to our constituents, our clients, and the community members that we work with. A third goal is to increase governance capacity, increase governance capacity, development, and size. So this is an area that we're really strong in. We've since July, we added 2 more board members. So we are sitting at 7 total board members, which is a really nice, strong board for us. Our max capacity in our bylaws is at 10, so we are at a good place with our board. Obviously, we can fill 3 more seats, and we're always looking for more board members. So anybody out there wants to join the board, we're always happy to talk to you. But we have a great board. We have a strong board. We're building that cohesion now, and we're trying to come together to tackle these goals in the last year of the strategic plan. And we have some good campaign goals for this year and going into next year. And that leads me into the next goal or area is the strengthening the long-term financial stability of Frontline Arts. So this obviously is a very important goal as well, and that's why we want to build that strong board. And 3 areas really that we're focusing on is to build our cash reserve and provide benefits for our staff and increase our operational funding. I mean, those are 3 areas that I would say that a lot of nonprofits would focus on. Obviously, it's something that we're going to be focusing on. After the merger, we've stabilized as an organization. We're sitting nicely as far as the programming that we provide, the community that we have. We're extremely grateful for all the support and everyone around us. And now we're going to work very hard as a board and the staff together in how we how we deliver our mission, but to increase that capacity, build those fundraising goals, and provide impactful programs and our mission around us. So those are the goals, again, those are from our strategic plan, and that will run through 2021. So this year, this fiscal year 20 is when we're going to start planning for our next 3-year strategic plan, which will start right after fiscal year 2021 and run for the next 3 years after that. So we're in a constant flux. We're constantly changing, but we have a lot of we have a lot of work to do, but we have a lot of hope, and we have a dedicated team and dedicated board, dedicated staff, volunteers, members, community abroad. So we're very excited to continue our mission. And that segues into the next part for me, is saying we operate under our mission. Everything we do, all the decisions we make, as I said earlier, is under the auspices of our mission, and that is to connect and build communities through socially engaging arts practices rooted in paper making and print making. So, and with that, I'll turn it over to Rachel.
All right. So thank you, Dave. So our core constituents that we serve are comprised of veterans, printmakers, paper makers, book artists, socially engaged artists, and many communities, and especially continuing through this year, highlighting immigrants, documented and undocumented, as well as DACA recipients with the Migration Project, and of course the general public. Other constituents include families of military. We are working hard this past year on connecting veterans and non-veterans, also making paper with family members and loved ones. Supporters of veterans, supporters of printmaking and paper making, other marginalized communities, the local community, art educators, and youth. Now I'll do a quick listing through all of our programs. So one of our main programs, as you saw also in the graph, is Frontline Paper, our mobile national veterans paper making program that builds community and teaches veterans the art of handmade paper from military uniforms as a transformational and socially engaging way to share their stories with each other and the public. So as highlighted earlier, we're always adding to our programs. We are continually working with the USO and other universities in the area, and we are going back to Haystack in September, which I just found out, which is very exciting. As well as August, we're going to Touchstone Center for Crafts in Pittsburgh, and they are working on a scholarship to make that program free for all veterans in the area. And then our next program, this is basically how we have merged Roving Press, then Paper Connects, to fully coordinate with everything that we do here. So now that's Frontline Paper for Youth. Basically, we have been hiring our own veteran instructors to go out and do the youth paper making programs at schools. And also with professional development, which has been extremely well received. We've mostly had Walt Nygaard and Ron Erickson leading a lot of those programs. So we're teaching the art of printmaking paired with handmade paper making from military uniforms and also natural and recycled fibers. We have continually our adult education classes every single season, fall, winter, spring, and summer. These are our in-studio courses for adults to teach print and paper making and book arts with traditional and less toxic methods that we're always improving on to make less toxic to ourselves and the environment. We have our studio services, which include contract printing, which we continually have a lot of work in, which has been wonderful. Our main job has been with the Gottesman Academy in Randolph. And also technical assistance, which is one-on-one work, tours and demonstrations with groups. We regularly have the College of New Jersey here in the studio, which has been wonderful, plate making, studio, and equipment rental. We have our artist series, which is our artist-to-artist group that meets second Thursday of every month, led by Leocadia Stanek, which is continually growing. We're great to see, happy to see a number of growing faces on Thursday nights here.
Hi, Leocadia.
I know you're watching. Hi. Thank you. We have our membership, which continues to be a tiered structure membership with many options for both artists and art supporters. So you get discounts on classes. Studio time is lumped into that with our studio artist levels and key holder levels. and we have discounts for veterans, seniors, and students. We do also have our gallery with rotating exhibitions. Currently, what you see behind us is our 46th annual member show, which will be regularly happening and towards the end and beginning of each year. And other rotating exhibitions highlighting our own projects as well as other traveling shows and other local studios. And then we have connection projects, as just mentioned earlier, with our Constituents. Migration project is our main project going on currently through this year. I will have Dave answer more questions that you might have about that at the end here. But those projects are partnering with outside arts and non-arts organizations focused on specific social issues centered around our mobile paper making programs. And then we also conduct research on less toxic techniques in all types of art making that we do here in the studio to continue to be sustainable all around. So I think that is a list of where we are at the moment. So Dave, I'll turn it back over to you.
Sure. So that wraps up our summary of 2019 and where we're sitting in 2020 and some of the direction that we're going into in 2021. Obviously, we encourage all feedback, like we said, through the chat, through email, correspondence, in-person meetings. Come to the studio, talk to us, email us. Rachel and the staff are extremely open to any conversation about Frontline Arts, where you think it has been, where it is now, and where it should go. And we're open to all of that. So what we want to do now is just open it up maybe with a question or two. If anyone online wants to type in a question, we're happy to sit here and respond and maybe type a response, or we can obviously respond through the video. But anyway, so some things to think about. It's, what in this past year as Frontline Arts, what are some of the, how do you generally feel it's going? How do you think we are providing the programs and service to our members, the community around us, our clients, and just in general, how do you feel it's going 1 year since this last year, fiscal year 2019? How do you feel we are fitting our mission? Do we have to start thinking about different ways of providing programs to fit our mission better? Are there people within the community and members within the community that we need to listen to respond to because we are not living up to our mission, or we have to start thinking about new ways and new strategies to reach different people in our community? So those are two questions that I'd like to just put out there in the beginning. And like I said, if you have any questions, you can email us or throw it up on the chat, and we're happy to answer it. And maybe not even questions, suggestions. We're open to suggestions, advice, comments, anything. We'll sit here for a couple minutes, and if anyone is brave enough to put it up in the chat screen, we're happy to answer it. But like I said, you can always email us or stop by the studio at any time.
Absolutely. So yeah, any questions about our mission, our image? What do you think of Frontline Arts in general? What do you think of our classes, our gallery exhibitions? Oh, we have a comment. Hi, Perry.
Thanks, Perry.
We're very excited about a press.
Well, thank you, Leocadia. Yes, of course, A to A.
Artist to Artist, next Thursday the 13th. Sorry, I'm leaning over. Like, what does it say on your screen, Dave?
So while we're waiting a little bit for the chat to populate, if people are thinking, one thing I do want to say is, for me at least, there's a reason why I do this. There's a reason why I am so committed and invested in this community and what we do for the arts, in the arts. And it really is, to me, it's about building a capacity for understanding one another in the world. And I think that printmaking, papermaking, art in general, but those two disciplines and those two technical art-making processes are a natural fit for connecting people and connecting communities together. And the more that we work in those spaces, the more that we work with people that are not artists, people that are not a part of our communities that we're close to, or that maybe we feel like we are bubbled up in. You know, the more we work with other people and other communities in these art processes, the more we learn about those other people, the more we can connect with them, build a capacity for understanding people. I feel like that's extremely important today. And it's very important to really face and address the challenges of a disconnected society. And I think the arts is an incredible platform to do that. And so I'm proud to be a part of this organization, and I'm always excited to talk about it, the mission, and what we're doing. I'm always excited when new board members come on board and they say, you know, I love what you're doing. I love how you're reaching new communities, how you're reaching out into the world, providing these types of platforms to start dialogue and to learn technique, to be directly connected to nature, to be directly connected to material and object, and how we can view that differently and use them differently. I think all of those things, I mean, these are just, you know, a few of the hallmarks of printmaking and papermaking and the arts and the making of arts, which is absolutely important. And anyway, so I just feel extremely proud to be a part of this community, and extremely proud to be a part of our mission and our cause and our movement. Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox.
It's a good soapbox to be on. It looks like we have some comments. Mary Bohr says she loves all the class opportunities and would love to see something added on a weekday. We have gone back and forth with that a little bit. We do usually have more weekday classes over the summer. We've noticed availability seems to flip over the summer of our students being available during the week more than on the weekends. But we will consider that. We do have a class coming up with Maria Pisano that is on a Friday and a Saturday. So yeah, we're always playing with the availability of when everyone is available. We still are open Thursday nights late until 8 p.m. and we have had some key holders and studio renters regularly using that time, so that's great. That means the late night Thursdays are worth it, as well as the artist-to-artist group meeting at that time. And Saturday afternoon seems to be really popular. We just had an extremely successful event this past weekend on February 1st, Cut Your Heart Out. We had almost 20 people in the studio. That was a lot of fun. So we're going to stick with some Saturday afternoon events for now. But yeah, please give us feedback on availability and what best times are. After Mary, we have Len commenting, glad to hear we're financially stable, woohoo. Yes, we've been working very hard at that, and we need to continue growing and diversifying our revenue.
Just one thing I want to add to that, so we are financially stable, but what comes in goes out. And so
Correct.
We are at a point where we've stabilized that, but it's a lot of work on our staff and our board to make sure that that's happening. And what we need to really start focusing on is building up those cash reserves, building up things that we've always felt but things are absolutely essential for staff, and that's benefits and operational funding, so that we can operate in a much more secure environment. And so, you know, when we say stable, it's good that we're stable because we know what's coming in is going to go out, obviously, or what's going out, we know it'll come in. But we're in a position now where we have to think about expanding and growing. And that's going to require some work. That's going to require a lot of work over this fiscal year, ending in June 30th, and it's going to require a lot of work going into next year. And it's going to be a real challenge for the board to live up to that, to live up to that challenge, and to address those issues. So we're really coming together and focusing on that. But anyway, so I just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, thank you, Dave. So the rest of Len's question was about our large contract printing job for the Gottesman RTW Academy. Yes, we have budgeted for that in our upcoming budget. That's been a year-long project. That's been a huge project. We realized that probably a project to that scale isn't going to come in immediately afterwards, but we are adjusting for that, and also seeking a lot of new contract printing jobs which are already coming in. So I think that's going to stay pretty stable, and we are prepared for that. And yes, thank you, Len. We are really proud to have you too. Len is one of our main awesome volunteers, so thank you. I don't know what we'd do without you.
It's amazing, Len.
Oh, yes. Right before Len is Hugo. He says this has been extremely positive. Aw, thank you, Hugo. Hugo is our current intern for the fall and winter, and we really appreciate him. So hi, Hugo. Thanks so much for attending tonight. We've absolutely loved having you here. And Leocadia, a second fundraising event. So that was a little test that we just did with Cut Your Heart Out. We actually raised $440 for a 2-hour event, which was pretty fantastic on Saturday. And that was in lieu of, we used to have a winter fundraiser in the studio, which we had done in 2018, and then previous years as PCNJ. We realized this year that so many people are completely occupied every weekend and weeknight in December, and we decided, why try so hard to compete with that? So that's what this past little event was. And we're going to focus more on online campaigns as well for the end of our fiscal year in June. So watch out for another big online donation ask, and that kicks in with our annual community event in June. And we're also working more with the board's role in fundraising and cultivating donors. So we're seeing what's worth effort in and money in as far as event expenses, and what brings the most successful return in a nutshell.
Yeah, and Leocadia, the second fundraising event and the summer event that you're referring to, that is something that we brought up with the board in our last board meeting, how we can actually, how we can bring something like that back. So we're discussing different options, fundraising options for the board members to organize and to put out there and support, obviously. So yes, we're addressing that. I agree with you, Leocadia. I loved many of those events that we had in the past, and we'll definitely let you know when something's in the works.
Absolutely. All right. You're welcome, Len. Okay, any more comments or feedback? Open suggestions.
Yes, open suggestions could be anything. We don't have to be big picture here. Is there anything that we should be addressing on the website? Are there any things that we should be addressing as far as just details in the studio, or how the newsletter is formatted? So all of those things, we're happy to hear those suggestions. So please, again, it can be through the chat, or you can email us. So whether it's a macro or micro topic, we're happy to address it.
But and just to emphasize that, we are always wanting to hear from you, our members, potential members, donors, and attendees of our classes and workshops. We listen to what you have to say, and we respond. We base, if nobody shows up, then we will not continue having those classes and events anymore. So we are constantly retooling to see what is successful and what everybody wants. Okay, gallery for events and meetings. Yes, we were just talking about that an hour ago. So our gallery space is a fantastic space for all sorts of events. We were just talking about, maybe more of a coffee housey thing, music, yoga, who knows?
Yes, this is something we also tried to address in the past. I think if you have any one of our members, if you have ideas of how to use the space use the space in the gallery, we're happy to hear those suggestions. Obviously, we have this. We've done obviously we've done a lot of events here in the past, but we're open to new ideas. So please reach out to us and let us know what you think.
Yeah, if you'd like to host something, drop us a line.
So we hit the 40-minute mark. If there aren't any other questions or suggestions, I mean, we'll, if you have a few that you want to type up quickly, we can address them. Obviously, we want to respect everybody's time and not sit here watching us just talk without any additional questions.
Dinner yet? So. You're starving. Well, just so everybody knows, if you happen to type a comment after we end the live stream, we are not going to see it. So if we have discontinued the feed, please do not keep typing. You can then give us comments via email, phone call, in person, and the survey that we'll be sending out.
So, Mary, thanks for the question. How can you encourage young vets to come by or contact us? You have some recently returned vets that you'd love to see take advantage.
Great.
Well, there's a few ways. You can pass along our contact information to them. I'm happy to directly talk to them. Me personally, I'm happy to talk to them. If you want to send them my information directly, david@frontlinearts.org. They can email me. If you want to contact me as well through that email, I'm happy to give out my cell phone number, other contact information as far as veterans, trying to bring veterans into our community here. There's also Sundays are a great way to get veterans involved in our community. Sundays from 12 to 4. It's open studio here at Frontline Arts for veterans and non-veterans can come in at that time. And we've had walk-ins. We've had people just come right off. They just walk in because they know that it's an open studio and they just want to know what's going on. Sometimes we've had veterans and non-veterans come from previous workshops from that week or the prior week that we met for the first time, and we said, come in on a Sunday, so they'll come in, and they've been with us for years. So that's another way. So Sundays, email directly to me. You can also connect them with Rachel and Mike. They'd be happy to connect with them and then let them know of all the opportunities here at Frontline Arts for veterans.
We also have Walt Nygaard and Ron Erickson, the main contact for the general Frontline Paper programs and other questions is also info@frontlinearts.org. So they're also happy to help out, and I just want to reinstate that we have an incredible group here every Sunday, and we have new folks joining every month or so. So it's a robust studio group on Sundays here that's incredibly welcoming if anyone just wants to drop in.
Yeah, and Mary, I see that you'll be in touch with us, so that's great. So one other thing, as far as those are the details on how to contact us, as far as talking to them, one thing that we open up all of our workshops with is saying, we are here to hear your story and hopefully you'll want to hear ours. And so it's really a sharing of stories. And if that's something that they are interested in, it's not, it's not, when we're first connecting with veterans or non-veterans in that space, it's not about getting them to start cutting into uniforms and getting them into the technique. It's about making them feel comfortable that their story is going to be heard. I mean, that's a real, that's a real comforting way to find yourself, or a comforting way to be introduced to a new community. So if there's apprehension there on their part, it's really about the sharing of stories and finding a common narrative between people that really may understand each other. And so anyway, so I'm happy to talk with you as well through email, or we can find time on the phone to talk about ways that you can talk to veterans and encourage them to come to our workshops.
Awesome. All right. And then what
Yes,
other-
once they meet Walt, they'll be hooked. You're right. Yeah. Walt is definitely, he's our secret weapon.
He's good with the kids too. And yeah, Len was commenting about the new techniques. Yes, so Len is our Giving Tuesday fundraiser that we had on December 2nd, where we raised almost $3,000, which is awesome. We actually just scheduled our advanced paper making workshop with our veterans. It's going to be with Dave DeMarchi on, I believe, May 3rd. I have to do the absolute final confirmation on that. Len will be teaching calligraph at some point in June, and then Mike and I will be teaching screen printing very soon, probably in March, April. So that's going well. We're excited. We want everybody to learn all the techniques that they would like to, and be able to use all the tools and equipment in the studio, and make the art and tell the stories in the way that they want to tell it best. So that's great.
Yeah.
And what else do we have?
Thank you, Tara, thank you for that
Yes.
comment, those two comments. I'm sure, yes, I'll leave it at that. Tara's hit it right, the nail right on the head. It's the growing community here. It's so welcoming. And again, it's veterans and non-veterans. It's obviously we're here, we're in the business of connecting people through arts practices. So it's really about connecting those stories. If we're just meeting in a bubble, eventually that's not going to change how we're connecting in society. So it's really about the veteran non-veteran connection. So anyway, I'd be happy to talk about that more.
All right.
I think that's it, right?
I think that's it for now. We will hang on for a few more seconds.
Any
in
last
case
comments?
anyone has a final comment.
Anyone's going to throw in a comment bomb?
Comment bomb. Oh no. Letty! Oh yes.
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 It's true.
Sorry, for a second I thought you were saying something about the wooden bridge that
Yeah.
they just tore out.
It's definitely not the bridge they just that they just
Not
tore
that
out down the
bridge,
road.
It's gone. They're building a new one right now. Literally right now. Yes, that is correct. It's an incredible way to bridge the gap between communities and communication.
And another thing that I'll add into this, Frontline Arts, our flagship program is Frontline Paper. I mean, that's where we bring in most revenue. That's where we make most impact, and that's where we make a most branding impact. But we have a process. We have the dynamic of our facilitators and the dynamic of our staff that are invested and rooted in this in our mission about connecting communities, and we're expanding that to other communities. The Migration Project is one of them. It's something we've been working on for over 2 years now. Working with, and we're very mindful of this, working with gatekeepers, cultural anchors within communities that want to connect with veterans, and then in turn, the veterans in our community want to connect with their communities. And that's how migration was built, or that's how it was born. And we're connecting with immigrant communities. And even going back further, we had been partnering and working very closely with Mobile Print Power from Queens, and they're part of Immigrant Movement International. And they provide the same type of workshop, participatory public workshops in printmaking, specifically silkscreen, of how to address difficult conversations and questions between communities that may be bifurcated or communities that don't connect, really around the immigrant issues of today. And so it was really working with them very closely over the years that this project came to fruition. So what I'm trying to say is Frontline Arts is working at expanding what we've learned from Frontline Paper and what we built at Frontline Paper to then be these new connective projects, really under the auspices of what is a connective practice. Mm-hmm. And if you've ever studied Joseph Beuys and social sculpture, connective practice is near and dear to his school of thought and the school that was built around him in the 60s. So a little bit of art history academia there if you want to dive into that. So it's really built around connective practice, and that's the understanding that everyone, not just artists, but everyone involved in making can be a world maker. And the more that we get involved in providing those processes to the communities that are around us, again, the more we get to understand and know people around us. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so Frontline Arts this year and going into next year, it's a heavy focus on how we're expanding. Expanding our programs, but rooted in really tried and tested processes, really tried and tested workshops. We're not trying to reinvent any type of wheel here. I see a lot of comments about veterans and the veteran communities, but there's a lot of effort and a lot of focus on being able to work with other communities around us, specifically the immigrant communities.
All right. Well, we got a lot of cool projects in the works. And we welcome ideas too. If anyone ever has an idea, hey, what community they want to connect, they want to work with, we would definitely be open. Frontline Arts or programming is for everyone. That's what we want to emphasize. So.
Exactly.
All right.
So we're at 6:51. I think we're gonna slowly shut this down. We've been saying that for 10 minutes.
Shut her
but
down.
Everyone wants to talk. Everyone wants to keep the party going, which is great.
Right. We'll keep partying offline.
But if anything, again, through email, come into the studio. Email Rachel, email me, anyone, approach anyone on the staff. Everyone here is committed to the mission and what we do. And the board as well. Please, we'll send out the information. The annual report is public, so you'll be able to see who the board members are. Please, if you know them, reach out to them, and let's just keep this moving.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for watching tonight. We really appreciate you taking an hour out of your Wednesday evening. And we look forward to more comments and feedback, and we hope to see you in the studio soon. All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Good
Bye.
night, everyone.